Yay, I'm on the right one.
On the right what?
Are you open? Is your microphone? There you are.
There I am.
So I got a message yesterday from one agent who said, do we have to pay for this class? And I said, no, this is one of the Keller Williams classes that you're going to jump in on. So she said, okay, me and 3 others. I'm like, okay, this is good.
Awesome.
I like
Awesome.
it. Yeah.
Me too. I think I have been standing up all morning, so I think I'm going to shift and sit down.
I got my stand-up desk going last week and I love it.
Oh my gosh. Be careful though, because the day will get away from you and then your feet will swell like mine are right now.
You know what? I don't know if my feet were swollen, but they've been tired from standing. And
Yeah.
I got my squishy mat now. Have you seen those rocker things you can stand on? They're supposed to keep your back a little bit loose and it pads your feet. I didn't buy one, but I've been looking at it.
I have to be careful not to add too much. When I was in the office last week. Oh, there's Tracy. When I was in the office last week, Danny, I was telling them about how I had made the commitment to my treadmill and had been keeping with it. It's been, and I didn't notice too much difference the first month, but the second month I started running now, not just walking.
Ooh, good for
And then
you.
he told me to go sideways, to slow it down and step sideways and just go slow. And
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, I have to tell him I almost fell off.
Yikes, yikes, yikes.
But now that I have it down, it's a whole different stretch. So I'm letting that heal first. Hey, Tracy, can you hear us? You have your microphone muted. I don't know if you're with us yet or not.
You might just have checked in and checked out.
Yeah.
That happens, doesn't it?
It does.
I have my trusty golden retriever Brady behind me here, right, Brady? Here for support, moral support.
That's mine is underneath the table.
Oh, that's fun.
Till he forgets where he is and he'll go.
My gosh, last week I was on a call with 2 agents that I was really kind of meeting for the first time. And I had some folks come to clean the house and my husband was out and I had to shut the door. And as soon as the cleaners got close to the office door where I was, one of the dogs started to bark. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. They go, this is life, right? This is the way it is. Jeez. Well, I'm going to get out again the next couple of days and drop off some of the planners. Have you seen the planners yet?
I haven't. And you know what, Trisha? I would love to have one. Can I get one from you?
Beautiful. Sure. It's like a mini portfolio.
Oh, wow. It's very nice.
It's hard. I mean, it bends a little bit, but it's got the spine on the edge and yeah.
Oh, that's very nice. I use it.
Really?
I use one.
All right. I'm going to put a sticky on this one.
Thank you. I appreciate
I'll mention it today. And I need to reach out to Jay. I have his business card right here to talk to him about the Salvation Army piece. Did you have a good time last week, even though it was kind of tough?
I did. It'd been over a year since I hugged my sister and my brother. So it was good to see him. He was healthier than, but gaunt for him.
Yeah.
He's probably lost about 30 pounds, and still he starts the next radiation on the 11th. So.
Hi.
Hey, sunshine.
There she is.
How are you?
We're good. We're just jabbering away here.
I know that a text message went out, so I think everybody's just got the link and they're going to be headed our way.
Okay.
But
Okay.
just so you guys know, the Zoom is usually like it's okay to be 5 minutes late. So I say we just start right at 1 and they can trickle in when they
Okay.
get here.
That's cool. And the only thing I need to do is just click on share screen after you switch over to me, or when I'm ready to switch to
I will make
the.
you host actually, Trisha, if that's okay. And
Okay.
I made it to where everybody has capability of sharing.
Yep.
Just so I can sneak out of here because I got
Sure,
another
sure.
appointment at 1:30.
Colleen does it to me all the time, right, Colleen?
Okay.
I do. We are
Cool, cool, cool.
multitaskers. It takes a village. Tag teaming
This
at
is
its
true.
best.
Yes, this is true. Hey, your new Catalina materials are really nice.
Aren't they nice?
Very nice. Hmm.
Yep. I love the buyers and sellers guides too, Trisha. Those are nice.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to talk about that just for a minute because they actually have a page on closing costs, who pays what.
Mhm.
And it's great. It's really good. So when you're
Yep.
doing these things and you go, who does that? It's never for sure, but at least you have an idea.
Hey, Tracy.
So,
Nice to see you.
Hello, hello, hello.
hi.
How are you guys?
Very good. Very good.
Staying out of trouble
You-
today?
You got a great
Trying.
backdrop behind you. Is that your home?
That's my house.
I
See the
see. I
dogs,
see.
dog sleeping back there.
I like it. I like it. I've got mine down here. I hope yours don't start to bark so that mine start to bark.
That's why I have the headset.
There you go.
They can actually go off in the background. You will hardly hear them.
Well, you have a beautiful home. That's very cool.
Thanks.
You bet. All right, I'm starting to see some names on here that said they were going to be here. This is good. Eileen is there. Cool, cool, cool. So you keeping busy, Tracy? Good.
Sorry, I'm working on putting pictures up on a listing right now. I'm multitasking.
I understand.
Yeah, I got a whole big screen over here too. Try not to look. I couldn't do it without all that anymore.
Hey, Lynn, how are you? Is she with us?
How are you?
I am good. I am good. How are things going?
It's good, homeschooling, but so far it's okay.
All right.
I understand the 2 grandkids that live with me might be scarred for life. They call me a homework Nazi. I don't know where they get that.
They're going to say, Grandma says this is the right answer.
Well, and then my grandson will go, Grandma knows all the teachers. She calls them by their first name.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's
is
good. You have an
tough.
army right there.
Yes. That's right. Adriana, I see that you joined us. And guess what? I'm on Zoom.
Hello.
Last week, she and I tried to do GoToMeeting last week and it didn't work. So now I'm allowed to have Zoom again.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Karen, it's good to see you too.
Good to see you.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, how is everyone?
Doing good. Did everybody vote?
I am on my way as soon as I get out of here today.
Woo! All right. We'll get you out of here. I thought maybe you came to this class to skip that stuff on TV and everything.
No, not quite.
Not quite. Okay. Good for you. Good for you. I did mine
Hello,
a couple
Robin.
of weeks ago.
Robin, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Hi, Robin.
Hi.
I haven't had a chance to meet you yet.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
I may come screaming in. I told Colleen I have a meeting that bumps into that, but I might bring in the tail end of your meeting and say hi.
Oh, that'd be great.
I can keep us talking.
Uh-oh, sorry, Robin.
And
All
Sarah, how are
right.
you today? Need to make sure we said hello to Sarah. She popped in and out.
I'm here. Hold on, I'm trying to. Hi.
Hi,
Hello,
Sarah.
how are you?
I am doing well. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Yay, you
Good.
voted.
I did. I wanted to go down to the polls today and do it. So
Good
I
for
felt
you.
really good. I'm very excited. So
Good for you. We have some other folks that are going to go as soon as class ends, so that's great too.
good. I've been yelling at anybody that I meet today. Please go vote. It's like the most important thing you could possibly do right now.
Oh my
So
gosh, no
hopefully.
kidding. No kidding.
And
No
Marcus,
kidding.
welcome.
Hey, Marcus.
Hi.
There he is. Hi, guy. How are you doing?
Good.
Good, good, good. That's
Voting
great.
earlier.
And
Already done.
we like it, like it. Kayla, are you still on? Do you want us to kick off here? You said right about 1.
Yeah, I'm still on, but I handed you over host. So
Okay.
lead the way. And
Woo!
thank you guys so much for coming and teaching. We really appreciate it. It's definitely been a need. And if you guys don't mind letting everybody know that you guys just dropped off I think Colleen dropped off a bunch of stuff here the other day, just so that they know where to find it. Just all the goodness that you guys give and everything that you guys offer. I think that would be great, as most of these agents here, some are new, some are old, but I think it's always nice when new gifts arrive in the office.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, let's go, you guys. So, all right. So, do you just step off and then I'm on? Is that how that works? Or, okay.
You should already have host capabilities, Trisha, so you should be good to share your screen.
Okay, all right. So welcome everybody. I'm Trisha Hooper. I'm with Title Security. My my position is sales executive within the company. Do I still need to click on something here to move us? Are you good? Oops, you're muted.
Can you click share screen?
Oh, okay. We're ready to share the screen. Okay, got it. That takes me totally off. Is that what we want?
Yeah, well, and then you'll click the screen that you want to share, and then you can click share, and then it'll just be like a panel view on this side of everybody on the call.
I can't see I would like to keep it on me at first. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can keep it on you, and then just whenever you're ready to share your screen, you can click share screen.
Okay, okay, stop share. Still not seeing that. So if I click on, I've got it on share screen.
Yeah, so you're not going to want to share your screen until you have like whatever visual you want up, because right now it's just
Okay,
me.
Stop sharing. Okay. And then when I'm ready to show them the website, then I click on share screen. Okay, all right.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm good right now.
You're good to go.
Woo, here we go. Hi, see you back there. Okay, guys, I'm Trisha Hooper. I'm with Title Security as sales executive. Colleen is here with me also. Colleen Hoffman, you know Colleen. We were asked to talk today about the cost sheet class. And before I even do that, I want to mention something to you, because Kayla just mentioned the fact that we have some materials we're dropping off in the offices. And today you might hear me kind of go between saying Title Security Agency and First American Title. And I just want to make sure that's not confusing to everyone, because today I'm Title Security Agency. Probably over the last 5.5 years or so, we've been Title Security, local company, a joint venture with First American Title, a national company. In January, First American Title purchased Title Security Agency, the entire entity. So in the next couple of months, you're going to start to see Building signs change to First American Title. You're going to see some of our marketing materials change to First American. And that leads me to a shameless pitch here, but I'm going to just hold this up. This is a home buyer's guide, and I have a home seller's guide. And I've just recently dropped these off in the office for you. And I want to make sure, at least in the River office, excuse me, Jessica Alvarez will drop these off over on the Cole Road office. You definitely want to pick this up, whether you're new or experienced. For new folks, it's great because it gives you the information that you need to have for the process of escrow, the process of title. It talks about why to use a professional realtor. That's you. So we want to make sure that we're using that. And then what I folded over was closing costs, who pays what. So if you're newer to the company, this is a great kind of checklist to look down and say, well, who traditionally does the paying on this? It isn't an always thing. If somebody changes something in the purchase agreement, that might change the circumstances, but it gives you a good start to get off and running. So pick these up in your office. They're beautifully done. If you need an electronic version, just send an email to me and I'll be able to get that off to you. And then I have to take this Post-it off here, but I'm also going to be dropping this off in your office. This is a planner. It's an appointment book. And this is different than the one you got last year. Last year was beautiful, but this one's a little bit like a portfolio. It's, you know, got the edges and beautifully done. And Colleen's getting this one, so this one's taken. But if you're interested in that, if you still use paper for your appointment book, this is the way to go. Let me know that you'd like to have one of those. I'll make sure that gets to you. Okay, so I'll be out dropping those off this week. Oh, I see. It's I see hands up. Okay, so Marcus is saying yes, for sure. I would like to have one of those. I'm going to grab a piece of paper here from my notes. All right. Okay. So cost sheet. I kind of joke about this. Not a sexy topic. Not exciting. Woo! That type of thing. But important, right? Because it's something that separates you from everybody else that's out there and doing the real estate business. So I like to start off and be just plain and simple. What the heck is a cost sheet? Is it just crunching numbers? Isn't that something the escrow officer can do? What exactly is a cost sheet? And for those of you who are experienced, help us out here. What is it? What do we need it for?
Well, that's easy. A cost
Yay,
sheet
Dan's here.
We can break out the monies and where what's going to go to what side when you sell the house, or what are the anticipated fees needed to close the deal.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you're kind of shooting from the hip, aren't you? If you don't have that information, if you're not providing that.
I came in just to answer questions, say that I love you both for doing this. Thank you so much. All of you guys are awesome.
Thank you, Dan. We match in our purple today. So, Dan, what percentage of agents do you think do a cost sheet?
10%.
Yeah, it's pretty small, right? And that's a big deal.
10%?
So, yeah, he said 10.
10%.
Yeah,
do not let your
that's
broker hear that.
Right. Don't.
Very important. Very important to do a cost sheet.
Right. I agree. I absolutely agree with you on that. And you know what? If you do that, there's one way for you to separate yourself from the pack. Why is this important for your customer to have? I wrote down 4 things. Separates you from other real estate agents. Why else? Dan said it informs your customers. They know how much money is involved, what proceeds, and how much am I going to pay on a monthly basis. What else? What does it do for you and your customer? What does it show your customer if you do that for them? Okay, everybody jump in.
It makes you look professional, like you know what you're talking about, and it sets them up for success. They know what to expect.
Thank you.
There's
Absolutely.
nothing capacity. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? There may be somebody who says to you, you know, nobody ever told me about this before. Nobody talked to me about this. I didn't have any idea how much I'd be paying on a monthly basis. I was just guessing. So good for you that way. It cements you to them as a trusted advisor. It really does. And it shows them your craft. So those are the things that I jotted down. All right. So where am I going to go to open from title security? Let me clarify that. Where am I going to go to start a cost sheet? Anybody know? Anybody been in the cost sheet already?
Log into Title Security's website and click on cost sheet.
That is what you are going to do. That is exactly right. And you know what? I'm gonna click right here so that I can get that cost sheet going. Now, can you see that? Are you with me
Nope.
on the cost sheet? Can somebody say yay or nay?
No, we don't see
No, not yet.
No, you don't see it. Okay, hold on a second here.
No.
While you pull that up, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that you can get at the office.
Okay.
In the office, at the JV office, it's in the computer room where all the computers are. That's where you're going to find the contract guides, the buyers and sellers guides, the transaction manager folders. Over at Kolb La Playa, Tracy, do they keep those in a certain area over at KLP?
Yeah, they're in the back where the files are, where we pick up our
Okay.
checks and our folders are.
There you go.
There's
So
there and they're over on the other side.
Awesome. The other thing that Tricia and I do is that we supply the office with buyer's books. You're more than welcome to order those from us, individually. Anything that's hard copy, 1 to 2 working days though, to get to your office. So if you just need a buyer's book, you can always go to, at JV, you can go to where the mailboxes are in the very bottom drawer. We order them about a dozen at a time there. So you can always
Yep.
just grab and go there also. The other thing that we just dropped off are the desktop calendars. I know a lot of people don't use those on their desktops anymore, but with business planning coming up and the business planning clinic coming up, it's a great piece to put on your wall to keep track of your goals. So just a little piece. The other thing, since we have some new agents in the class, just a reminder that when you're writing your contracts, to make sure that both companies are on line 117 of your contract. So it's going to read
Yes.
Title Security / Catalina Title, both companies.
Yep.
And your clients get that VIP title service for no extra cost.
Right.
And
Okay,
when
tell
will
me if
that
you can.
change to First American?
It'll be after the first of the year, and Robin, we'll
Yeah.
let you know. You'll
Absolutely.
hear it. We'll be talking about it all day for, for
Yes,
quite a while as it's coming up.
we will. Can you see the title security page now?
No.
Oh, good heavens.
No, ma'am.
All right, what are you seeing on your screen?
You,
Just me.
well, you and everyone else, but you.
Okay,
So
now I
there
can
we
see.
go.
Now what can you see?
A
Now
blue
we-
screen, like your desktop.
Getting
All
closer.
right. Okay, getting closer. Here we go. Here we go. Heaven's sakes.
Do you have double screens?
I do.
You may want to bring what you have on your other screen over to this screen because I think we're only seeing your second screen.
Okay. All right.
This is later than usual, but I would do a quick call. We're gonna look right now. Go find some. See you later.
And while you're doing that, I will touch base on the 2 different types of title. As we're doing these cost sheets, you can do the cost sheet for the buyer or the seller. When you're doing them for the seller, the fees that are going to show up for your seller are the homeowner's policy. The fees on your buyer's side transactions are going to be the loan policy. That's the title policy for the lender. If you have a cash buyer, there is no title fees for the buyer. So that's going to be blank, and it's really funny. I had a seasoned agent call me on the weekend one time, wondering because she had never had a cash buyer before, and I was like, no fees when there's a cash buyer. So.
Okay, tell me what you can see.
Yep, we've got you. As soon as you click on cost sheet, I think it's going to show up, Tricia.
Okay, you got it? You're with me?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
wow, that's really weird. Okay, all right. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to titlesecurity.com. That's all it is. There are no passwords involved in this. It's easy to get in. It's easy to use. See where my cursor is up here on the top toolbar, cost sheet. I'm going to click on that. And this is the #1 reason that people come to our title security website. And Colleen can tell you, we've had this website or this cost sheet for a very long time, way before anybody else had a cost sheet out. And yet still people come to this because it's easy to use. And that's what you want. You want to get in, you want to get out. This is not something you want to, spend hours on. It will take you a little longer the first couple times you do a cost sheet, just because you're gonna say, well, where do I get that information? What do I do with this information? So I highly recommend that you practice on this before you practice in front of a customer. And I'm sure Dan will tell you, yeah, practice, practice, practice before you get in so you can do this. And some people never do this in front of a customer, which is perfectly fine, because I'm going to show you how you can actually do a professional report that you can share either when you're with them face to face, or you can email it to them. And I'll kind of walk you through a little bit of that detail. Okay, so here we are on the cost sheet page. Everybody seeing where I am? There's some red stuff up here. This is the cost sheet provides estimated charges only. Most brokers want me to say estimated, estimated, estimated when we have this conversation, because a lot of times you're getting preliminary information. Let's just say you have a seller and you say, do you still have a loan on the property? Yes. What do you think the balance is on the loan? And they'll say, oh, about or approximately, or, and they may not be looking it up when they're telling you this. They're giving you a round number. So if that's the case, this is very estimated. This is to help them make a good decision. If you're looking for very, very specific numbers, I'm going to talk about that when I get in here a little bit further. This is telling you that if you are doing a VA or USDA fee quote, you're probably going to want to talk to the lender, because not only are lenders different, but the VA piece of it is very intricate. We want to make sure we do that the right way. We don't want surprises. So you can use the conventional and make some tweaks to it, but I'd still be talking to a lender if you're going to do that. So we've kind of flagged that because we want to be careful. The cost sheets for residential resale, not commercial. If you're doing a commercial transaction, talk to one of our escrow officers. They're going to know those numbers. They can dig right in and they can get you to where you need to be. And escrow officers touch this every day, so they can certainly help you if you get stuck, but you can always call me too. The challenge sometimes is I'm going to be in the car, but I could probably walk you through whatever you're stuck on, because it's usually a few places and I'll tell you where those are. Browsers. Oh, go ahead.
What this isn't going to show you is if your client is entitled to a discount. So if you have an investor, we have investor fees that are 30% off title and escrow fees.
Yep.
So that will not computate in this cost sheet. Or if you have a seller that's selling within the last 5 years with Catalina title, you need to make sure that component is on the contract though.
Good.
We have a reissue discount that we automatically will switch to the underwriter that has that discount for you. We do that as an in-house title company, we search those things. So the discounts will not show up on it.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. And Colleen, you're going to throw some of the title pieces in here that I'm not going to be thinking about. So good for you on that. Microsoft Outlook, or excuse me, they're saying over here the best place to go are Google Chrome, Firefox, and Apple Safari. And those are just the newer ones that are going to pick up everything on this so you don't have an issue. There's one place where somebody will call me and say, I can't seem to get everything I need to have. So if you can get yourself to those areas, you should be in pretty good shape. Let's just jump in here. I picked a property. It's actually a live listing right now, so we'll use that one. I want to tell you when you jump in here, the contact name, contact company, contact email, that's you. That's not the customer, that's you. And I'll show you why. So I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can type my name while I'm talking at the same time. And if I misspell something on here, it shows up. Okay, purchase price on this home. I'm just going to plug a few numbers in, then I'm going to ask you for some additional information. The price on the home, oh, you know what I want to tell you? $435. And I didn't put the punctuation in, and tab is your best friend in a cost sheet. Click tab here, puts the numbers in, takes you down, it calculates. So if you're putting numbers in, make sure you hit the tab button. Don't just click down. Otherwise, you won't have calculations that are appropriate. And you'll notice that real quickly. Okay, now we can do a down payment, not earnest money, but down payment. So we're either going to use a percentage or we're going to use a flat dollar figure. So I'm going to put 20 in here. I'm not putting the percentage. I'm hitting tab. I'm going down to the property address, which is 4802 East Paseo del Bac. I know some of you probably got your computers open and everything with me. I'm one of those people on visual, and I do move fairly quickly on this, so slow me down if I go too fast. But if you know your way around on this, you could do this with me. Estimated closing date. Give me some rules of thumb on estimated closing dates.
Should be Monday.
20 days, 30 days, 45 days. What do you think?
At least
FHA is 45.
45, okay. Did you say, Teresa, did you say at least 30?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep, at least 30, absolutely. So what could be the downside to 45 days?
You don't get your offer accepted.
Yeah, right. I hate that when that happens. You're in competitive situations right now, and it doesn't mean that everybody's going to do 30, but a lot of people are going to do 30. So you have to balance that out when you're talking to your customer and setting that up. And 30 days is a pretty good clip, isn't it? I mean, it moves fast. What about 10 days? We hear about 10 days, right, Colleen? 10 days pop up once in a while. Can you do 10-day closings?
Yes.
Cash buyer.
Cash buyer, okay, cash buyer. What else could be something that we have to take into consideration?
If they waive appraisals.
Yeah, right. Do we have the title report back? Do we have the homeowner's information? How many
HOA.
days does the homeowners group
HOA,
have
yeah.
to? Yeah, all right. How many days does the homeowners association have to get us back the paperwork, the information?
I think it's 14.
Yeah, they can take right up until the end, and they do sometimes, don't they? So you have to take those things into consideration. If there's a loan, and you know what, guess what, I did that in this house I live in right now. I was in real estate at the time. The buyer or the builder wanted to get out of here. He said, can you do 10 days? I'm like, yes. I just said it right out loud. Yes. My lender almost shot me because she had to do the hustle to get everything done in time. And sure enough, we did it. Okay. Days of the week, Monday, Friday, Wednesday, anything better? Do we care?
Mondays.
Wednesdays.
Say it again.
I love Wednesdays. That way you have, if something falls through, you have a couple more days to get it recorded.
Got a little breathing room there. Okay. End of month, beginning of the month. Do you care?
You don't want to do
Okay,
it right
so-
on the 30th or 31st.
Why?
Because end of the month, everybody tries to get things out, and it seems like everything's at the same time. That really puts the lender under stress.
And the numbers change.
And
The numbers change because of taxes.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? You can actually close a house at the beginning of the month. That is a possibility. And yes, the numbers will change slightly. But if it's going to cause your customer some heartache, you want to be careful with that. Okay, so today is November the 3rd. Give me a date. What date do I want to put in here? How about the 2nd or the 3rd?
3rd.
Let's do the 3rd. Okay, so we got 30 days. We're not cutting ourselves short, and that is a Thursday, so that's fine. One of our sales reps will say cash is king. If you're going to close on a Friday, do it with cash. Some of you probably already know this because you've been in the business for a while, but between 12 and 2 o'clock is the cutoff for any wiring. So if something happens later in the day, you're probably not going to have recordation. If something happens tail end of the day. So mornings are even better. If you could do that, if you could do it before lunchtime, that's a good way to go. Okay, so we just made a decision here. So 12/3 is our estimated closing date. Okay, annual property taxes are 2302. Does anybody know where I'm getting those?
The assessor's office.
Yeah, or even the MLS sheet, if I'm working for a buyer, I can just pull that up, take a look, you bet. How about the total realtor commission? What's the key number there? What's a good number there?
Usually 6.
6, you bet. And because you're paying both agents here, right? Not just you. If you put 3% down, that's not a good number. Could be 7, 6 works. All right, you don't have a flat fee brokerage commission. Some companies do. It varies in price. If you did, you would put it there. And then when you actually see this report, it shows a combination of the realtor commission and the broker commission. So basically commissions are in one number. You might look at that and go, that's not the right number. It's because it's probably got a brokerage fee included in that, on that. Let's make it simple. We'll do a loan and we will do 30 years. Do you think 3% is a decent number for me to put down here? Sure. Conventional. Yep. I do have other choices here that you can pick from with the drop down box. I'm not going to do a short sale. We're not getting into the, not yet, not in any big way. And you can do this cost sheet for just your buyer, just your seller, or both. Let's say you have a buyer, and I am going to tip on the buy side here. Why would you want to show the buyer the seller's numbers? What would be the positive, you know, what's a positive to that? There is a positive. What do you think? Does the seller have to pay some things in the course of this process? Yeah, sometimes the buyer forgets about that, right? They just think that they're selling the house and they're going to walk away with money, but they actually are responsible for some of the fees we're about to look at. Here we go. Generate the cost sheet. Please don't hit this reset button unless you want to zero everything out. So generate the cost sheet. Here we go. All right, now this is what the report starts to look like. Look at, you've got several different color areas, and I'm going to tell you what those are all about as we get into this. But I'm going to start at the very top. I'm going to, by the way, I'm going to say Mrs. Seller and Mr. Buyer, and this is the property address. If you don't have a property address, you can put TBD in there until you have one. But if you're working with a buyer and you're kind of comparing a couple houses, you might want to put an address in just so you have it. This isn't going anywhere. So, you know, this is your report. I got the property address. It's Pima County. My purchase price is $435. My estimated closing date is 12/3. And here I am. I'm the one that prepared this. And that's where your name would come in. Now, when you come down here, these numbers are pulled based off of sheet number 1. There's 2 sheets. You have to fill out 1 to get to 2. Sometimes people call me and they'll be like, I can't get to the second page. They've forgotten something on the first page. You've got to fill that out completely. It takes you to the second page. So the first area up here, escrow. So those are primarily going to be escrow fees, and this is based on the sales price. It's based on down payment. It's based on what you've just put on the first page there. So you can see the down payment is $87,000 because we said 20% down. So that's a chunk of change. The escrow fee is split between the buyer and the seller. Why would the seller have to pay $87.50 for a new loan escrow fee? Any ideas? I mean, it's not their loan. Why should they pay for that? Anybody know? Should we cheat? Here's how you cheat here. Go over here to the I and put your cursor over top of it. And basically what this is saying is, because it is a new loan, it takes a little bit more work to do that than it does on a cash transaction. And so the seller has agreed to, to offset that cost. So that's why that's there. Alta homeowners title policy. Do you want to talk about that at all, Colleen?
The Alta homeowners policy is and we touched base on this just a little bit ago. That is the policy that the seller supplies for the buyer, showing the clear title. So it's going to show, you know, that they have clear title as far as the liens, access, things like that. Ownership. They're passing clear ownership over to the buyer.
Right. And if you want to look here at the Alta loan policy, it tells you it's an insurance premium charged to the title company to insure the lender, so that the lender is covered, and that it says that the encumbrance is a first lien on this property. And then Alta loan endorsements, that's going to be additional premiums, and those are chosen by the lender. So they're going to make a call on what that could possibly be like. And we've just got an average number of 200 in here. This is taken from years and years and years of us doing this. Recording fees, process service fees. Oh, by the way, on recording fees, this is interesting. I was talking to our sales rep from Green Valley, and she said, those recording fees are too low. And I said, why? And again, cheating over here, it says fees charged by the county recorder's office desk for recordation of appropriate instruments or instrument. And this is going to sound terrible, but down in Green Valley, occasionally they have a death certificate they need to put on there. So she tells me 60 is a better number in their area. And so here's what you do. If that's what you're going to do, click on that, type in 60, move to the next area, type in 60. You can make those changes and just tab on to the next, and that changes our calculations. The green area is the lender area. And this area has been taken from years and years of history with Pima County, very specifically here, on what the loan charges will be. I don't make a lot of changes in here when I show you this because every lender is different. This is going to give you the history of an appraisal about 485. I think I paid a little over 500 for mine not too long ago. Some have application fees, some have origination fees, some don't. They just put it in a different area because the lender does have to be paid for their services. You can see the blank areas are where you could actually add something in. So if they don't call it an origination fee and it's something else, put it in there. And what I would tell you to do is be very specific when you do this. So I'm going to show you one area where I put some parentheses in because if I go back later, I'm like, why were those concessions there? What was that for? Loan discount points, flood certification, if we have any, MPI, PMI, flood insurance, servicing setup. This area right here is for payoff for the seller. If the seller has not paid off their home, they've lived in the home for 30 years or less than 30 years and they still owe on the balance, we're going to take the scenario that they've paid off the loan, and that means this payoff statement fee might go away because what this is saying over here is it's a fee charged by the lender or collection company for payoff information to give to the seller that says we paid that loan off, we're good to go. So you could just delete it out if you choose not to. And by the way, this sheet is basically a debit sheet. What I mean by that is these are charges. So as I go down here a little further, I'm going to show you a credit and why we put a credit in and how that looks. Brokerage fee, that's for the two agents. That's your commission, important number there. Wood infestation report, you may or may not want this on here because if the lender goes, you got a wood infestation report, I'd like to see it. Most times they don't really want to see that, but they might. Same thing with property inspection fees. If you can take care of those outside of the close of escrow, that's fine too. Some people need to put it in here. Homeowners associations are so all across the board. I didn't put any numbers in here at all. I did put real estate tax proration. I don't know if you remember, but the taxes were about $2,300. And what they've done here is they've shown $977 for the seller to pay for their taxes for the second half of the year. And then there's a credit, and that's minus $977 looks unusual to you, but they're going to be in that house in December. So they're actually not going to end up coming out of pocket on costs for the real estate taxes. Colleen, I don't know if you have this or not, but I've got a really great flyer that I'm checking just to get updated, but I have a flyer on taxes. And I pull that out pretty frequently because it's one of those things you don't touch every single day, but when you do, you want to make sure you're explaining to someone that taxes are in arrears and when those tax payments come out. So if anybody's interested in having me send that to them, I'd be glad to do that because you want to have a little bit of a feel for the tax information, but this thing is doing it for you. It's doing the proration, so you don't have to really worry a lot about that. Now we come down here to earnest money. Well, that's a funny thing. Why the heck did they put earnest money way down here? Well, remember on the first sheet, we did a down payment, but we didn't do earnest money. So how much money should I put in here and where should I put it? Buyer or seller? That's a trick question. Where should I put it? How much do you want to put down? It's a $435,000 house. What's a good earnest money for that? Gosh, I hope everybody's awake out there.
4,500.
4,500 on the buy side, right? Okay, and watch this. See down here it says 100,000. Look at that. I couldn't have done that if I tried. When I put the 4,500 in here and I click tab, it changes the number down below. So just make sure you're hitting the tabs on that so you got it. So here's what this is saying. Remember when I said, does the seller have to pay for certain things? Yeah, that came to $29,690. There's some commission charges in there, and we see there's less on the seller side, obviously. but we've got some expenses there. And then on the buy side, 104,000 because we've got a pretty big chunk up here of 87,000 on the down payment. Now I want to be real clear. Now, when I get to the bottom of this report, there's two different things going on. This is telling you the proceeds for the seller. So here's what the seller is going to walk away with after they close on the property. So purchase price 435, less a loan balance, less estimated cost. Those were the ones we had up above. See, those numbers match up. Estimated net amount, less owner financing. We didn't have anything in there. So there's our grand total of 405. So 405,309. That's the proceed for the seller. Now you go down here. This is not proceeds or what the buyer actually comes to the table with. This is the monthly payment. Sometimes we just kind of forget that. It's like, well, wait a second here, $1,700 and this was 405,000. They're not the same. So you're going to look at the loan amount again. It's just wrapping up our principal and interest, taxes, insurance, homeowners association. That will come in here too. So that can bump this number up. But right now it looks like our monthly payment is going to be in the $1,700 range, which is pretty darn good for $400,000 home, 435. Nice interest rate at 3%. We still have some fees to go in there, but it gives you an idea. It gives you an idea of what, you know, this person could do, because they may say to you, you know, I can't do anything over 2,000 a month. Then you're kind of backing into this to see how you can do that.
Hey, Trisha.
All right. Yes.
If you scroll back up way on the top, you have a little mistypo.
Do I?
All the way up, all the way. Stop recording fees on the buyer side.
Right here. Oh, thank you. Hey, that's a big one too, huh?
Figured it might make a little bit of a difference.
Wow, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Absolutely. And there, boy, when you brought me back up there, there was one thing I just thought of that I didn't mention to you. What was it? I'll think of it as I get down here. Thanks for that catch.
You're welcome.
There, now we brought him down to 98,000. That's better, right? Okay. Still in the 1,700 range, but that was a good catch. Glad to have that information. Also, if I forget what I put on page 1, there's a couple things I suggest. One, have a tablet and write down some of what you did. In case you're doing a couple of these, you could just write the property address at the top. But I can also go down here to the bottom where it says view transactional details. Look at that. That's a quick snapshot of what I put on page 1. So I've got that information. And the reason I say this is not saved. This information is not up in the cloud, because a lot of people work on 2 and 3 of these cost sheets at a time, and we don't want the first page to leave cookies and keep numbers in there that are not accurate. We want it to go away. So but here's the downside to that. If I go over here and I say change transaction details, it's going to say, hey, heads up, are you sure you want to do that? Because you're going to pull out some of those numbers off of the first sheet. So I'm going to say, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to cancel that. It's not the end of the world. Some of the numbers are still there. Several of them are gone. Now I want to keep a copy of this for me, and I want to send it to my customer. I don't recommend that you email that directly to them. I recommend that you keep a copy for yourself. So if I click on view print, it says, do you want to include estimated cost explanations? And the answer is absolutely yes. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's another cheat sheet. I'm big into cheat sheets. I love them. So here's what the report looks like. You know, you've got the full report set up so that you've got your down payment, all your information is in here. Oh, I know what I forgot to do on that one sheet. I'll go back and show you, but you can see there's just a couple, like we went in here. You know what we didn't do is we didn't do a home warranty. And that would be something that you probably want to put in there, right? And where would you put that, buyer or seller on the home warranty side? Any ideas on that? Here's the home warranty policy right here.
It depends upon who you are negotiating, who is paying the cost in the contract, whether or not the buyer is going to pay it or the seller is going to pay for it.
That's correct. So if I'm representing the buyer, what am I probably going to do?
I've typically always had the seller pay for it.
Yeah, most times, not always, but most times the seller pays. And I would put a $550, $595 price range in there. that number would go there. Also, I want to show you down here, these areas that you have that are blank, you can fill those in. So if I wanted to have seller concessions for carpeting, and I wanted to put $5,000 in there for the seller to help me pay for that, I can plug that in there. So it does give you some flexibility.
If you're
simply
new and you're going to do concessions, either talk to Lisa, talk to your broker, or Dan, or another
Yes.
seasoned agent to make sure that your verbiage is correct in there. Because with
Right.
those concessions, your escrow officer is going to have to follow the directions. It doesn't matter what you meant. It matters what is printed on the contract. So you don't want
Right.
to leave any money on the table in front of your clients.
That's right. That's right. You want to be really careful what you put down, what you write. And I know when you're newer, you're pretty good about checking in with your with Dan or with Lisa to make sure that those things are okay. Sometimes it's when we've been in the business for a little bit and we pop those things in and we're like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that. And then here's the estimated cost explanation sheet. This is what I call the cheat sheet. But you know, when I put the cursor over the number and it told me what it was, these are the explanations of everything. And I mean, this is very detailed. So if you were sitting with someone and they said, well, what does that mean? Wood in the station report? Or what does that mean, tracking fee? You can say, well, let's take a look at that. And you pull that sheet out and use it. If you just give it to them or email them, you can have that attached as well. So I can save it in a PDF, and that's probably what I do is save it as a PDF. And then I can email a PDF. And again, it'll say to me, do you want to have that extra sheet involved? Yes, I do. That's how fast that email goes out. And I just sent that email to myself. So now all I have to do is forward it to my customer if I choose to do that, or just keep that copy, put it in a PDF. From there, I've got it. So I'm all set to go there. What's the difference between a cost sheet and a settlement statement? Anybody know? Do you do the settlement statement? I hope not.
Comes from escrow, right?
Yeah, let's let the escrow officers do that, right? Let's let them dig into that. Escrow officers touch this every single day. But you know, one of the things that I hope you'll understand is the escrow officer is almost at the end of the transaction, correct? So they're gathering the information from the lender, the buyer, the seller, their customers, putting it all together. So as much as you can get to the escrow officer, they can start putting those numbers together and start crunching. But they do have to wait until the lender, if there is a lender involved, gives them the final numbers so that they have to be to the penny on a settlement statement. So what I like about doing cost sheets is when you look at a settlement statement, it makes more sense to you because the columns are pretty similar, but they're going to have a lot more information than you had at the very beginning, because a lot of times this is done at the beginning of a transaction. And every once in a while, somebody will ask you to update that through the process. And so then it'll get a little bit more closer to what the escrow officer is going to provide. Questions for me? That's a lot of information. You go very quickly. Do you think it's easy enough to fill those blanks in? Well, Cindy, you had a question. Go ahead.
Before I forget, so when you first started off and it said something about the VA and USDA,
Yes.
So is that on the buyer side or both, like to get the fees?
Well, it's primarily on the buyer side. Because you're going to be working with a lender that way. And we just had so many people get confused and there were errors, and then people would get upset that we kind of put that out there and said, hey, work with the lender on that. But some people will use the conventional and they'll make the tweaks that the lender recommends.
So if we're on the seller side, they're really, fees are okay in here if we just pick conventional?
Yeah, they're pretty close. They're pretty close. Yep. Yeah. If I were on the other side, I would be asking the escrow officer a little bit about that. I'm like, hey, I want to stay in the loop on some of what's going to be happening here. But yeah, overall, pretty steady. Absolutely.
And also being on the seller side, and if we're trying to figure out the like a net sheet for them,
yes.
Do you really need to put down like the down payment if we don't, we don't even know on the seller's side what their down payment is?
It's a super fast, easy hit when you're just doing it on the seller side.
But I can't leave it blank. It won't let me bypass it.
If you mean in the
first,
which one are you? Which one are you leaving blank?
Well, where it says down payment and it's either says percentage or flat.
Yes. Put 0 in and see if it'll go
Mhm.
forward.
Yep.
Can it?
And if it does, that does it. Yeah.
Actually, Cindy,
Yeah.
Cindy, you can put anything on that because you're going to be hitting the seller at the bottom of the sheet. You're not going to be showing the buyers. You're just going to be showing the sellers.
Color,
You could-
yeah.
You could just put 20%
Okay.
because that's going to show up on the buyer's side, not the seller's
Not on
side.
the
It
seller's
is.
side. Okay.
It is.
I figured, but
But,
just thought I'd ask.
but you can also just do the seller side and not see any numbers on the buyer side. You know, when it says seller, buyer, both, if you just click on seller, you're not going to see any
Seller,
numbers
you're
on
not
the
gonna
buy
see
side.
That's what, yeah, that's what I meant. When you hit the bottom
Yeah.
and you hit the seller, none of that stuff is going to come up.
Okay.
And
Exactly.
you would never show the seller a buyer's cost sheet.
Got it.
You would never do that. There is never a time that that's a good idea because the seller is paying for the commissions
Mhm.
and they'll want to start negotiating that if they see what the buyer is paying.
Yeah. What other questions are out there?
I have a question on the buyer side for the earnest
Yes.
money.
Yes.
Is that a minus whatever the earnest money is?
No, because it's a debit. So it's a charge.
Okay. So is this estimate before they put any earnest money down? Like if somebody puts,
Yeah,
So
if they
you would
already put
typically-
earnest money down, you're just gonna put what they did put down. If it's before and you're trying to help them figure out what they can afford, yes, it would be before.
okay, but you
Does
would
that make
never,
sense?
even if they paid it up front and you did a cost sheet later, you wouldn't minus out what they already paid?
You can, you know how you could do that? You can actually do that on the down payment. So you could,
Okay.
let's just say we put 4,500 in there, you can take that out of the down payment.
Okay, all right, perfect.
What happens if you have a cash buyer? What are you gonna put for the down payment?
The whole amount.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
That's
correct.
right. It feels so weird. It's like, what? But would there be down payment? Even if I pay cash, don't I have to put earnest money down? Excuse me.
Yeah,
earnest
I
money,
did.
wouldn't I? Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So again, you may have a couple thousand that you're putting in there. You may take some out of that. You know, here's the cash amount. But yeah, because those are things you get to the bottom and you go, earnest money. Well, shoot. If you've already done it, you already know what that number is. If you haven't, then you just have to think about the way you want to position that. You guys are asking great questions. I love it. I love it. Get in there, play with it. Remember, it's estimated. It is estimated. And the more you do it, the better you get. And the more comfortable you are explaining it to other people. And when they have all these questions, you can answer those. But guys, it's just like anything else. You know, there's a lot of information in our business. If somebody asks you something and you're like, well, I'll be darned if I know that. Nobody has ever asked me that before. Don't be uncomfortable to say, you know what, I'm going to write that down. I don't know the answer to that. I'll get the answer to you. And then just make sure you do as fast as possible. And I mean, sometimes there are agents that'll tell me, hey, I will pick up my phone and I'll get an answer while I'm sitting with somebody. So they know that that's the kind of person that I am. And I think that's a great
And
way
you
to
can
do.
call us anytime. We can walk you through one of these cost sheets as
Mhm.
long as you have the pertinent information, the taxes, the down payment, if it's the buyer, let's see, to address, those pertinent information, as long as you have that, we could be driving down the road and go line by line with you to
Right.
fill this out.
Yeah.
You know, I had a new agent call me probably 7 times, his first 7 deals. And it was always on a Sunday. And that was okay. I finally, after about 7 times, I went out to Green Valley and met with him and said, you know what? You could have this done by the time I answer the phone. You know, or by the time I call you back on a Sunday, you could have this, you know, it takes, once you get into the groove.
Exactly.
I love the language of real estate and I think words are really important. So one of the things that I would share if you send this to a client is based on the information that you've provided, I've created this estimated cost sheet for you.
Right.
Because
they'll
this
forget.
This program is only as good as the numbers that you put into it. And if those
Yes.
numbers change somewhere in the process, you know, like if
Mhm.
if all of a sudden there has to be a new roof, or, you know, or there's
Mhm.
termites, or there's, you know, and it has to be treated, you know, numbers change. If
Mhm.
if the life of the escrow changes, often the numbers do. You know, that's why it's so very
Right.
important to let your escrow team
Yes.
know anytime anything changes in the contract, you want your escrow officer to know.
Yes.
Because
Even
what
if
you
it's
don't want
moving
to
it
do
forward.
is get to the closing table and not have the right numbers,
Right.
you know, because of an addendum that they didn't get. You know,
They got one and they got three, they didn't get two. That's usually a signal to them. They'll wave their hand. But if you've changed something on there, or if the agents have, they're sharing the commission, they're, you know, to help on a concession or something, yeah, make sure that the escrow officer knows that, because they'll handle it well, but they'll have to step out and they'll have to make a few tweaks. And then, and you know, if they've come in with a cashier's check, things have changed just a little bit, and we don't want them looking around at you or the escrow officer and saying, hey, don't you guys communicate at all? So the more you communicate, the better. And also, guys, if you're newer, an escrow officer is going to be really careful going through this. They're going to try to get that settlement statement to you in advance and really make sure you understand what's happening, so that if your customers are asking you those questions, you have a pretty good idea of what they're talking about.
the other
Good
thing
information.
is that, I'm sorry, somebody had a question?
Go ahead.
The other thing is that when you get an email from an escrow officer asking for something, your file has stopped.
Yeah.
So here you are in this 30-day process, right? Or 45, however long. We want to get it done in 30, right? So we'll just say 30.
Yeah.
Here you are in this 30-day process. And if they've reached out for you for information, your file has stopped because they can't proceed without that information. So
Yes.
make sure that that is a priority call for an escrow that you have live, is to get back to that escrow officer and get them whatever they're looking for.
Yep, absolutely. Good stuff.
but-
What other questions do you have? Do you think this is going to be doable? Is this something that you feel like you'd be comfortable with? First time, maybe not. It's like, where do I get that? Where do I pull
I
that
had a
information?
question.
Sure.
I have a question. Would you suggest being conservative with the numbers, or like overestimating on the higher side, so that if it comes in lower, that's better? What would you say?
I'd like to pad it a little bit. I would prefer to be a little bit higher than, you know, and to say, you know, I probably went a little higher on some of these, but I'd rather us come in with a lower number than to have an extra $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 that we weren't anticipating.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. That
Well,
would
and
be
the
my
other thing
suggestion.
too is that if you have a client who is at the opposite end of that, and who is counting every single penny to get into that house of their dreams, while the interest rates are low,
Yeah.
you can reach out to the escrow officer and ask them
Yes.
to run it for you. You know,
That's
ask
right.
them what underwriter. We have 3 underwriters at Catalina Title. The underwriting on this page is going to be for First American. So again, remember that it's not going to show any discounts. But the other thing is that if we have, depending on the life of the escrow, because we're an in-house title company, we shop those 3 underwriters for the very best rates. So if you have somebody that's really penny pinching, you can ask, you know, you can reach out to your escrow officer and just say, hey, these clients are really down to the last nickel. And can you, search the 3 underwriters with Catalina Title and see what the bottom line is, the best scenario for my clients.
Yep.
If you need to know that ahead of time. I mean, we're going to do that on our end anyways, when we get the prelim, but if you need it ahead of time, just let them know.
I also think that that's the same way. We talked about this a little bit before, but if you've got an engineer, you've got somebody who's very, very specific, you know, and the understanding of estimated is hard for them to handle, then you want to work with the lender and the escrow officer to make sure you're as close as possible. And, you know, keep that communication going, because we don't want to get you put in the middle of something like that where they turn around and
Yeah.
say, well, you didn't tell me that.
Well, and plus it is just an estimate and certain things aren't going to change. Like your commission, if it's at 6%, that's not going to change. There's some fees, if the interest rate is what the interest rate is, that won't change. I mean, some of the things aren't going to change. And I guess you could explain that to them where some of the things may change.
Some agents will do, when they sit with a customer and they have this report, they'll take a yellow highlighter and they'll strike that estimated cost sheet at the top. And you can actually have your customer sign this at the bottom, that they understand that this was an estimated sheet that you gave them, if you feel that that's, you know, a precaution and necessity to be able to do that. Yeah.
Does
And you know what,
everybody know
another, go ahead.
Does everybody know what the title fees are based on? How we come up with those numbers?
Please explain.
It's based on the sales price. So title fees are based on the sales price. The lender's fee, that is for the seller, the Alta homeowners policy is based on the sales price. For the buyer, the loan policy is based on the loan amount. So the higher the price of the house, the higher the title fees, because the higher risk that they're taking.
Right. Good point.
So then where do the discounts come in?
A discount would be if your seller was selling within 5 years, we have an underwriter that has a 5-year discount. I just had somebody call me that had forgotten to put Catalina title on the contract. And he was like, hey, I didn't get my reissue discount. And I said, give me the address. I'll look it up right now. I've never known us to miss that, but we're human. And he called me back and he went, I just assumed because the other agent was with our company that Catalina title was on the contract. And Catalina title is the title partner. So we do those things. That's not normal for a title company to automatically give a reissue discount. You know, so we switched paper, got it to Catalina title, and we saved them $475.
Good.
You know, so I've had scenarios where people called and were looking for their prelim. This happened out in our Green Valley office. And it was title security, but it was a different title company. They had their own in-house title company. They had been in contract for 30 days and did not have a prelim. Ooh. And he said, how fast can you get this prelim to me? I said, I can get it to you this afternoon. But wait, before we change anything, let me call and find out what's going on. So I called and talked to the escrow officer. And what I am always going to do not get me wrong. I want your business. I want you to remember both title security / Catalina title on your contracts, because it benefits you, it benefits your company, it benefits my family, it benefits your client though. I'm always going to do what's best for the client. And in this scenario, we contacted the other title company and said to them, Catalina title can have this in 4 hours. Can you get it to us before noon? And they said, absolutely. I called the gentleman back and said, you don't need to do anything. Everything is taken care of. You'll have your prelim in 2 hours.
Good for you, Colleen.
You know,
that's the high road.
Right, because I didn't want his clients or him to have to, you know, sign an addendum. Let's not do that. Let's get this to the clients. You know, so.
What's the downside of the addendum? We should probably mention that. You know, if you have to do an addendum, you've changed things a little bit. You know, you don't want to open the door for somebody to go, oh, I don't think I want to proceed. You just want to make sure you're moving forward.
Right.
Yep. Good stuff. Please get in and try this. You know, I almost was gonna like attach the cheat sheet on there with all the definitions and everything, but I don't want to do that because I want you to get in there and get your feet wet. Just, you know, working at home, get in there, plug in some numbers. If you have a listing, plug it in, take a look. Make up stuff and put it in there and change the scenario. Just see what happens. And dig into the homeowners association information a little bit. Make sure you've got that tax flyer. I'll make sure that tax flyer is in your office so that you guys have that so you can get at it. And as I mentioned before, the buyer and seller guides, get your hands on that, because this one page alone where it says who pays for what, homeowners insurance, homeowners association fees, all that information's in here. So you can get at that, and your customers will love you for it. And for you, it's good talking points. It'll make sure you don't forget anything. Anything else, Colleen? Oh,
no, I
Cindy?
think that we've covered it, and again, we're here for you. If you have any questions, you can reach out. If you're from the Cold La Playa office, you can reach out to Lindsay Crane or Jessica Alvarez. You can reach out to Tricia and I too. We're all a team.
Yep.
We're here for you. And that's 7 days a week. It's just like the gentleman that called me so many times and Sunday was his favorite day. I always answer my phone. Our response time might be a little longer on the weekend, like by design, right? I've got all those grandkids I play with. But I always answer my phone. And you guys, the success of you with your contracts are our top priority.
Absolutely. And Colleen always tells everyone, if you're going to email us, email both of us, because you got a twofer. One of us is going to pick it up pretty quickly and get going. One of us may take a little bit longer, and then we copy the other person so they just step out so you don't get hit with a couple of different answers. But our phone, we have one phone number, and we're there. So we are here to help you.
When will those buyer guides be
you.
available at Cold La Playa?
Say that again?
When will the buyer guides be available at Cold office?
You know what? I'll send an email to Jessica and ask her when she's going to drop those off so she can let you know.
Yep, that'd be great.
They should be there. They should be there very soon. They're new pieces, but they are available. So
I was just there yesterday. I don't think I saw them.
Okay, I'll ask her when she's going to get that out, and I'll ask her to get that back to you so you can swing by and pick them up. They're
Well,
good.
and Tricia, I would like, can you email me the electronic version of ours for JV?
Yes.
I will tell you that, there are people that are going to want hard copies. That's just the way it is. But since COVID, something that I've noticed is that even my seasoned agents that used to use a lot of paper, a lot of them have gone to the electronic pieces. It's faster, it's easier to get off your plate. And the recipients of that, because our technology world jumped ahead 10 years. For those people that weren't, a lot of people that weren't using technology are now because of COVID, so just know that, that both pieces are out there.
Yeah.
I would keep the electronic piece in a folder with other marketing tools. I'd have a folder and just title it TSA/Catalina title, go to both the websites and download all the tools so that you have them.
So we can download that right now off of the site?
Not today, you can't. I was just going to say, I'll tell you that right now, it's kind of one of these weird things because like my booklet says title security. Most of the ones say First American. And so they're trying to hurry and get those things out to us. So I went in yesterday to look for services and utilities sheet, and it wasn't the updated one that was in there. So I got it in another place and sent it out to the agent. So there are a few in there that need to be updated. So I would suggest you talk to Jessica or me and let us send that stuff to you. The buyer's guides and the seller guides, they're bigger files, but they're still doable and you can still push them forward and get that information from them. So
all of the Catalina title pieces are updated and on the website. So you could start your folder with those pieces, the contract guides, the FERPTA guides, the foreign investor guides, the short sale guides. And the other thing that a lot of people don't know, a lot of the seasoned agents don't know this, is that our transaction manager files, the front cover of those files is available in a downloadable PDF on our website. So you can do that paperless.
Good. And we are still doing books, home books and buyer books if you need those. You just let us know and we'll get those dropped off at your offices, especially the home books so that, they're customized for you. And Colleen and I have got quite a few of the Spire books in your, well, I at least know at the river office. So cool. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Hope those of you who haven't voted, you get out and do that. And please reach out to us. You know, give us some feedback. If you still have some questions, you can fire those our way, even by an email or a text, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Okay. Have a great afternoon.
This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a good night
guys.
today.